That's where me, without an engineering degree as a social impact professional, I'm a principal engineer without an engineering degree working in Intel and really solving this large scale problem of bridging AI skills divide worldwide. Either it becomes an extreme hype conversation with all the Silicon Valley money, all that, or an extreme horror conversation. So you need to bring the balance back to midpoint. Not hype, not horror, but a true hope. What do I judge? I call it as a JOT, especially in an agentic era now. Judgment, orchestration, and trust. Now I have three choices of workforce: human, agents, and physical robots. Do I just give it to human? Only to agent, my robot, or human plus?
You are listening to the Global CTE podcast with your host, Sylvester Chisom.
Welcome, my friends, to another episode of the Global CTE podcast. I am your host, Sylvester Chisom. This is the place where I interview the best, the brightest, the movers, the shakers, the innovators. And today is no different. We have a very special guest all the way from the headquarters of Intel. We have Mr. Anshul Sonak here. He is the principal engineer, global director, and head of digital readiness at Intel Corporation, based in Santa Clara, California. He leads the Intel digital readiness programs, driving large-scale, outcome-driven public-private partnerships with governments and academia worldwide for AI education, skilling, workforce development, and enabling policies aimed at bringing AI skills everywhere. Since 2017, he has been championing inclusive and responsible AI and emerging tech development models for citizens, students, and the current and future workforce. He leads Intel's corporate mandate to make technology more inclusive and expand digital readiness for all. Is designed and launched a few path-breaking programs like Intel AI for Citizens, Intel AI for Youth, which is being used in over 27 countries worldwide, Intel AI for Future Workforce, and Intel AI Global Impact Festival, which is the world's oldest AI innovation competition for students. Over 10 million students across 30 plus countries have benefited from these programs that he has designed, developed, and deployed. He is a recognized industry thought leader and an accomplished speaker on human-centric AI and impact of AI learning, education skills, and workforce. Anshul, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the pod, your perspective, the fact that you're thinking about AI specifically from a international point of view, a societal impact point of view as it connects to workforce and education. I think this conversation is about as timely as it gets, my friend. So thank you for joining us today. I just read your bio. You're doing amazing, great things all across the world connected with expanding AI and its impact. Talk to me. How did you get here? What's the origin story?
Okay, so 2 points. One, I am a social impact career professional working in education and technology all throughout my life and working for a big tech company like Intel. So it's a unique combination of a large tech leader which provides foundation of all innovation. Semiconductor company Intel provides foundational technologies like semiconductor microprocessors and chips. So that's the foundation of every innovation worldwide. But to make it relevant and useful and impactful and inclusive for all people, that's where me, without an engineering degree as a social impact professional, right, working this, that's a unique combination. And that's also a reflection on how CTE as a career can evolve. I'm a principal engineer without an engineering degree working in Intel and really solving this large scale problem of bridging AI skills divide worldwide. So that was point number one. But to your point number two, what's the origin story? I've been doing all kinds of education work in my 22 years of Intel. But way back in 2016, I was traveling in South Korea in one of the small towns. And 3 boys over there, a 15-year-old, they presented, that time there was no AI skilling and AI innovation project in CT, but that was a data science project. they presented to me a project called Project Vegeta, which the problem statement was they said that their grandmoms who buy a cabbage, they want to really know when to buy cabbage. Why? Because kimchi is a staple food, and when they buy so much of a cabbage, right, it hits their day-to-day budget. So what these three boys did was created a simple machine learning model to predict the price of a cabbage and put it in a school portal. Now, it was a simple machine learning project based on rain, temperature, 7 year of price, availability, supply. But they demonstrated to me that any person can predict whether I should buy cabbage now in store or I should wait for 1 week. So a citizen development, citizenry participation for innovation, a 15-year-old boys can do it. That time I had no idea what is AI, what is machine learning. So this was presented to me as a machine learning project. And we said that, oh my gosh, this is what people are, a 15-year-old can do when they really think it from solving real problem in their communities. And when we really enable next generation to become innovator technologists, to do something, solve something, build something, not just use technology, right? And these are not cities or privileged guys, right? This can really help them change the world and at least help them change their own life and trajectory and careers, right? So that got us to drawing board, and we kind of updated our curriculum that time from a innovation curriculum, and that time we were doing a lot of maker curriculum, to the broader AI curriculum, which later on became AI for Youth curriculum, because then teaching and learning about AI itself and then really using it for relevant social impact, making it very relevant to their life became a mission. And that's how the AI for Youth came in. And we started from there and took it to many other flavors, citizen flavor, community college flavor with AI for future workforce and universities, AI for current workforce, for SME, micro SME, women entrepreneurs, all the other flavors, to make this power of partnership very powerful and meaningful for all. So that's the origin story. It started in 2016 and now it's 10 years of journey.
I love the fact that the Intel AI youth program starts with the students. You know, like that the young people, these young people were the inspiration for like, oh, here's the aha moment that we need to make this shift on how we can show young people ways to leverage AI to solve their own local community problems. With that being said, talk to me more about the Intel AI for Youth program, and like, what does that actually look like? You know, what happens in it, and are students working on solving their own social problems? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. So the thesis is, how do we empower next generation to become a responsible innovators and technologists in a very inclusive way, right? Technology is changing very fast. I mean, from a classical AI to generative AI to agentic AI, then now we are talking of physical AI, right? While people at the point they are, irrespective of location, gender, economic background, all that, right? We have to bring this fast changing technology world to very revolutionary technology to evolutionary set of people. People do not change that fast. So that's where really making sure that this technology power goes in the hand of a people, and the best way is to get it in the hand of a next generation. That's the power of education and employability together, right? Thereby they are not just learning the skills, and when I say skill set, the tech skill set like machine learning or generative AI or computer vision, but also the non-tech skill set, right? That's where the power skills come in, right? So the career growth skills like system thinking, entrepreneurial mindset, or the social skill related to AI, understanding biases, privacy, explaining AI in simple words, all that. So bringing all this together for a set of students in an education setup can be as a formal education setup as a city, can be a non-formal education setup as summer camps, boot camps, which governments, academia, communities want to do, can be informal setups via civil society body, whichever ways you write, that's up to the implementation partner. So we help our constituent like governments, academia to really set up this kind of a models and do it at scale. So That's how it kind of comes in. So when we work in Ohio, for example, with Department of Education and Workforce, right, then we get a local set of schools to really put up a right access to AI with a larger intel point. But then after the access, AI for Youth comes in a Tipcone High School over there in Tip City and get grade 11, grade 12 girls to come together and say, oh, I want to solve a set of problems which can make the reading much better for my local community. So they create a Reading Reimagined, which recently got a state AI, President AI Challenge Prize, and then the regional AI, President AI Challenge Prize, right? So the point is, every student should be thinking about technology to be, an enabler for them to innovate, create, build, solve, rather than just use technology and everybody is becoming a user, right? I mean, that is very good for the larger world, no doubt about it, right? But with more and more new challenges coming in, every student should be thinking about AI not just as an automation force, but an automation to augmentation, augmentation to autonomy, autonomy to true agency. What can I do to solve? How do I solve? How do I build? That whole entrepreneurial mindset I've coupled with system thinking, right? This is not just good for me, but I can convert this good for me, which is where the productivity gains of AI comes in, to the larger good for my team, to my organization, to the society, to the community. That's a new mindset which we need. And you can't really make students just feel more lazy. Oh, AI is giving me all the answers, so my life is easier. No, it's a huge opportunity to reshape, not just replace. The other point which I want to say here is, in the AI context, especially because it's a new intelligence and a new way of thinking, all that, either it becomes an extreme hype conversation with all the Silicon Valley money, all that, or an extreme horror conversation. An average person, average student, especially entry-level jobs, right? They feel depressed. Oh, I'm not going to get any job. What happens to me now if AI does all the job? You have two extremes. So you need to bring the balance back to midpoint. Not hype, not horror, but a true hope. Where will hope come from for a young woman? It comes from a role modeling, peer showing something. So the premium is not what you know or what you have learned, but what you do and what you show and create a role model. And that's what the true intent behind this program partnership is.
Man, you are speaking my language so much. I'm like, you have me hyped over here about everything you're saying. But I love, you're so right. The conversation does a lot of times go one extreme or the other, hype or horror versus we should lean in on the hope, especially in our education system. We're doing something, as you were talking about projects and what can they build. I was telling you in our pre-show, our students with the Show Me the World, they run the coffee business and all of that, to take their first international trip. This summer, we've implemented in our summer program, they're working on building AI empowered like databases and tools that can solve real problems. Like they're making their own apps based on problems that they're seeing in the world. So it's like, how do we get more educators to think about AI from that perspective? Like the mindset. Talk to me about that part, instilling that mindset.
So educators play absolutely the most critical role for these audiences which we're talking. There's a very small percent of people in the world who will learn AI on their own and then build something, do something. And that's what I would call as an AI researcher, AI engineer, AI developer audience. But the larger world of work, from a future of work standpoint, probably only 1 or 2% of people go to the big tech industry to do this kind of a research and engineering developer work. The rest of the 98% people of work are people like you and me who are doing regular jobs, who are little bit hesitant on what is this whole new augmentation power, whole new intelligence, which is now suddenly abundant, suddenly everywhere, and hence suddenly questioning everything. Now, this really requires a new skill set, which I talked earlier, the tech skill, the non-tech skill, the career growth skill and all that. But more importantly, new mindset. Where do I pause? What do I judge? I call it as a JOT, especially in an agentic era now. Judgment, orchestration, and trust. Right. This is so critical. Right. And you cannot just read a book or watch a video to really build a mindset about judgment, trust, orchestration. The challenge in the larger world of work also is individual productivity versus team benefits versus organization value. Enough research, right? People are very happy with that individual level. But how do I convert this into a team power? How do I convert into a larger organization game? Now, this really require what we call as a human-human conversation with AI in the loop, human, AI, human. So instead of AI in the human in the loop, we should be saying human in the lead, human with AI in between, right? Human in the lead. And this is where the teacher and student interaction in the physical and digital spaces, where you can, in a safe zone, pause, reflect, question, judge, verify, right? Really build this. AI is an augmentation tool now. I mean, I think people are getting it beyond just automation to an augmentation. But from an augmentation to autonomy and autonomy to true agency, it's a change management. Now, if I'm a 16-year-old, 17-year-old at that cusp, or even 22, 25-year-old at that cusp of really saying, oh my gosh, 5 years back, world was different. Now it is very different. And 5 years down the line, with more and more abundance of intelligence, superintelligence, AGI, SGI, whatever we say, how do I deal with all this? I need a good educator. And from an educator standpoint, it's equally a very big disruption because educators themselves are human learners first, right? And we underestimate, we think they have a magic, but they need resources, they need time, they need trust by their own leadership, by on their community, by the student to really build the power. Now, what is truly un-AIable, what AI will never be able to do, is this human to human relationship, AI, feelings, building that deeper connection, which beyond the parents, the first such deeper connection is educator. So we need to really build that confidence back to educator that probably you are the first lever of change in the world. What is truly un-AIable is that teacher-educator relationship with the student. I cannot replicate it by watching a nice video on YouTube alone, right? This is where I need a real person, whether the person is in room or in virtual, synchronous, asynchronous, all that can change based on the delivery models and stuff like that. But that's why we value the role of educator very prominently. And in all our programming, it starts with teacher training. It starts with teacher showcasing the value. It starts with recognition to teacher. All those tools of change management, right? So that they themselves develop a mindset that it's in it for them rather than extra work, right? Otherwise, they are also on the horror side, right? Oh, student will only do cheating with AI. Oh, students, are not really producing the right value. So, or oh, my job can go away if they can just watch a nice video and learn, right? So again, bringing that notion that more than 1,000 days of learning one day with a good teacher is far more powerful, right? That's the old Japanese proverb. How do we really show that? That's where, that relationship AI argument of human with AI in the loop, right? Human in the lead. That's very, very important for teachers. And that's what we have to role model every day.
I love how you frame that. I think that's a comforting message for our educators who are, when they lean on that horror side of the fear of like, oh, the AI could take my job or the students are only going to use it to cheat. But it's no, we are moving through these different phases of autonomy to agency. But how do we empower our young people to know how to utilize these tools properly? I want to stay with the educator here for a second. What are some other ideas that you think about what makes a great AI enabled educator? Someone who is ready to prepare, who's not operating in horror or hype, but who is operating in hope, that educator. What are some of the best practices or things that characteristics even for that educator?
So in our programs, we have lots of, I would say, blueprint or the tools and activities which get the educators to learn
Yeah.
some of these techniques, like triaging what in your teacher workflow, what is green, AI can do what is amber, and what is red. So, I mean, just a very simple red activity. Do I want AI to give a feedback to student? Oh, these are your areas of improvement, or you are failing here.
Yeah.
It can have a psychological long-term damage. So that to me is a red activity. I, as a good educator, whichever discipline, be it a CT discipline or regular subject discipline, I should be the one who should be thinking that's a red. I should be the one who should be doing it in a safe zone conversation, the real feedback, real discussion, right? But if I had to just create a better productivity poster, and save time, right, for my classroom, a better lesson plan preparation requires some media material, some activities, and then I can put that as a green and really outsource it to AI, right? I mean, I'm giving you a very simplest example of green versus red, but a lot of that can fall in amber. So this is a triaging activity of every single workflow. How do I think about what should be where, right? I mean, this is just one example, but there are many such techniques which we pass on, right? The broader construct which we are saying is, from a teacher standpoint, is very important. You require now a system 3 thinking. As a system 1 thinking, students can really, take a very deliberate thinking, intuitive, and really think and act fast. That's system 1. System 2, very intentional, so that's where system 1 versus system 2 thinking argument always has been, and Daniel Kahneman got a Nobel Prize on this, right? And I can connect it to Bloom taxonomy and so on and so forth. But now there is a system 3 with AI coming in, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, what we put as one of the tool or framework in our teacher capacity building, after teacher capability building, is this REST lens, REST, responsible, ethical, safe, and trustworthy, REST. Now, for this, any workflow, what are the teacher behaviors and what are the student outcomes? What should, and that triaging activity which I described on green versus amber versus red, right? What is responsible behavior for teacher? What is ethical? What is safe? What is trustworthy, right? We actually kind of go into that path and then link it to the student outcomes. What should student do? What should teacher do? That gives teacher so much of a confidence that I am on the right path. I'm still using AI. I'm not running away from it, but I'm in control, right? It's human in control. I decide. AI is my assistant. AI is my tool or now people are saying that AI is becoming co-reasoning partner. Fair enough. AI is becoming my co-reasoning partner, right? But the thinking is still mine, right? I want AI as a co-reasoner, but not as a thinker. I have to be a thinker, right? AI can pretend to think otherwise, but the real thinking has to be mine. Co-reasoning versus thinking, right? So that is where, when the teacher really sees some of this in action, and then say, okay, now you're talking of all this complex AI tool, can be generative AI, agentic AI, machine learning, whichever, right? Tomorrow it will be physical AI, quantum AI, all that stuff, right? Technical, non-technical, all that. Now I know how to create a right learning environment in my classroom or in my labs, whereby student can be more entrepreneurial, more safe, more, experiment and engage in a new ways for whatever subject I'm teaching, and more relevant in CTE space more than anything else, right? So that they can create right student outcomes. And in the tomorrow's world, the biggest outcome which you want is student to have a reasonable technical confidence, the technical literacy, right? Digital literacy, AI literacy, AI fluency, the fluency of, I don't have to be very, very technical PhD level, AI researcher, AI engineer, AI developer, but I can be solution builder. I may be doing any job. I may be doing a job in manufacturing. I may be doing a job in retail. Doesn't matter, right? I may be doing any function, marketing, sales, HR, purchase, whatever function, right? But I know I'm fluent on how to think about AI because I've done it. I've practiced it many times.
I love I love how you framed that. My follow-up question to that one is actually from my friend Rachel Mann. She's the executive director of the NCLA. It's a big CTE organization in the United States, and my co-host with the AI Brief for Educators. She wanted to know, what do you feel like is the most underutilized use of AI in education, specifically for education leaders?
So I'll give you an example from my own day-to-day job standpoint, and if
Okay.
that gives an answer to that question, right? Because otherwise, and most underutilized use case is a very broad topic. I can go into AI as an intelligence topic. I can go into AI in education topic or AI for education topic, governance and so on and so forth. But how I use it.
Okay.
Now, I'm supposed to speak to people of all types at all level, government, policymakers, civil society, academia, and I am not a master on any of this topic. I'm not an education PhD, but I am talking to you about an education skill, for example, right? So what I do using AI all the time, right? I use AI to really become my co-reasoning thinking partner. I pose a question, get an answer back from AI, and then kind of challenge AI back. So it's not getting an answer which is underutilized or utilized. It's our own ability to challenge AI back so that I learn the unknown new things, right? So if I challenge AI back, hypothetical question, right? I said judgment, orchestration, and trust. JOT, we should be jotting down, right? Now, let me give you a judgment example. Real organization, right? This trust example, probably you can imagine or visualize it very easily, but judgment is interesting. I'm an organization leader. Now I have three choices of workforce: human, agents, and physical robots. Correct? Three types of workforce. Now, any task can be a task whereby I'm supposed to give you one para CV, right? Any task. I can say, okay, which task only humans should do? Remember, three type of workforce at my disposal, right? Worker at my disposal as a leader. Do I just give it to human? One, two, only to agent, my agent. Three, my robot, or human plus agent, or agent plus robot, or human plus robot, or human, robot, AI, agent, all three. So I have 7 choices. I just give you 7 choices. I need to judge based on the task and based on the outcome and based on how you are going to receive it, how you're going to feel about it. I need to judge what is the best. I'm never ever going to get a ROI blueprint or a societal new contract for this. I need to now have a better judgment skill. This is a new reality we are entering in, right? Now, judgment as a task, how do I develop judgment as a skill? It really comes from that humble curiosity which we lose over a period of time, right? That lifelong kindergarten argument, that is the most underutilized one, because how do I judge if I'm just getting into, oh, let me just finish the work?
Yep.
So I need to rest instead of finishing the work, right? As I said earlier, rest, responsible, ethical, safe, trustworthy. So I have to first ask question to myself, then have a conversation with somebody, have a basic appreciation of other people's point of views, and then they build my own judgment muscle. And I will be sometime correct, sometime I may not be correct. So I need to have that team dynamic with you or my organization dynamic to support so that I am developing that right judgment for my personal competitive advantage for my own growth, as well as my organization competitive advantage. This is a whole new world of future of work. And I just give you judgment as a skill and link it to the basic questioning, basic lifelong learning skill, because we started killing the judgment skill because a 3-year-old asks 100 questions a day. And if by the time you get into CT 15-year-old, you ask 1 or 2 questions a day, right? And you lose that capability because you are just busy into completion of task. We get into the productivity race rather than the rest race, rather than really thinking race. That is the true fracture or a fault line of our society, which AI will only expose more and more. That really require a whole different leadership mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I think, we need to really make sure educators get it.
Yeah, no, you're spot on with everything you're saying, and I know that's something that as we go from education to the workforce, your Intel AI for Future Workforce program, that's the world's largest applied AI skills curriculum for employability, and you're working with over 500 universities across the world. What are some of those AI skills or the human skills that we need to be thinking about over the next 3 to 5 years?
So good question. So AI for X argument, right? Or AI plus X argument. That's how people are now saying it. Started this AI for X applied AI argument a few years back. AI for manufacturing job, AI for agriculture job, AI for cyber security job. Now, depending on the country, you can really build up a whole curriculum. So we built AI for agriculture for India and Poland. In US, AI for manufacturing. So up-leveling digital manufacturing to full-fledged AI for manufacturing. So this is where I think world is getting it, but this is still industry verticals. To your bigger point, what are the horizontal foundational new behaviors which are coming in and the new opportunities? If you really pause and really challenge this argument, right? Like AI for entrepreneurship is a very big one, because not that everybody is going to get into a formal job. You have to create jobs. You have to build businesses, right? So AI for entrepreneurship is a huge one. The other one which I would say is, and we are very proud of what we have done, AI for sustainability. Now, AI job, digital skills along with green skills will become more and more important, right? So green skill is often a very underlooked, underinvested area. So that's where AI for sustainability and all kinds of sustainability, environment, economics, so on and so forth, right? That's a very big topic in that space of applied AI. But some of the new other spaces which I would highlight, applied ethics. Every single worker should have a basic literacy and fluency around applied ethics, right? Yes. All the things which you're talking about, right? On, for example, biases. The biases are they're just not a model bias or a data bias. A lot of time the biases are really people bias. They are really our own biases which we are passing on to AI and getting AI to learn, right? From my bias. So instead of blaming AI for a bias, I have to look at a mirror. So that mirror conversation is totally new. In education, we always blame it on industry. Oh, these are the for-profit guys and they are really gunning after it. But it's only exposing our own fault line of social contract. This is our own mirror opportunity, especially on applied ethics and biases. Similarly, I will give you the third example on this applied AI point, right? AI for accessibility. Just think about it. In today's world, we exclude almost 15 to 20% of the people for whatever reason, their color, their accessibility, cognitive challenges, learning disability challenges, mental cognitive challenges, whatever, right? For businesses to grow and for society to grow, we have to include them back. So AI for accessibility, what are the right accessible behaviors? Can be as simple as, if I'm speaking in a language and a tone which you do not understand, can AI help you immediately for me to slow down and you understand in the way you are comfortable? Very simple thing. But that's the power of AI, a right application of AI for addressing the accessibility challenge, right? Now, accessibility is a huge topic in that sense. You can go into many areas. The other area which we are kind of seeing becoming more important now with even regulations coming in is safety. And AI safety, people often think about from a career tech and vocational education standpoint is only data safety. Now, the data safety is easier known argument. How about physical safety? How about mental safety? How about cognitive safety? How about physiological safety? How about relationship safety? Relationship AI, right? These are all new human rights. These are all new areas which are emerging, which if you want to really build a long-term 30, 40 year of career after your CTE, whichever industry you go in, you have to have at least a point of view that, hey, I need to be safe on all this, right? And that creates a competitive advantage for you, your team and organization, all three levels. So this is what we really want larger CTE universe to kind of understand and then start role modeling. Otherwise, the divide is already there. And I don't have to talk about divide to your audience, right? All kinds of divide, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's absolutely. And that's one of the points. I appreciate you speaking AI for accessibility as we even think about like equity concerns connected to AI. Which really I want to go to that global perspective that you have. You work, you're traveling all the time, you're seeing things happening in over 30 countries across the world. Talk to me about, is there anything you're seeing international outside of the United States that's really caught your attention from an innovation standpoint with AI workforce? Any of those things?
This is a very broad topic, right? So the global south, so there is a geographical point of view, right?
Yes.
People who have more AI are trusting less AI. People who have less AI are trusting more AI. That is a very interesting point, right? I mean, in United States, trust on AI is lower than, let's say, Indonesia trust on AI. So I think that is a one thing which is, I won't say it's a worrying point or a good point. I'm just giving you public trust on AI point of view, right? So we need to really figure out what's going wrong. If you go deeper and deeper into this topic, right, the cognitive surrender aspect of it is becoming more brutal. That people are so much into this pressure of using AI, right? If I just stop thinking myself or having that agency of my own cognition and then just start believing everything is out there, that is kind of another thing which is catching my eye, because for first time in the universe now, 2 months back, we saw more than 50% of all world content is AI slop. So we have crossed the mark. 50% is a half mark, right? More than 50% of things which are out there is slop. And as you know, AI is learning from data, and most of the time the data is out on the internet, web, YouTube, wherever it is. And if 50% of that or more than 50% is AI slop, I get worried. So how do I bring the balance back? That is exactly catching my attention, that are we creating a spiral of slop?
Yeah.
AI is learning from data is slop, so AI will only develop more slop, right? So this is exactly why we need to really that rest point, right? Rest doesn't mean slow down. Rest being intentional design for being responsible, ethical, safe, and trustworthy for the right outcomes, right? We really need this conversation which you guys are doing. Talk to people, educate them, right? Bring it to the ground with the right understanding, right skill set, mindset, not just tool set for the right hope. That is what is catching my attention.
Yeah. Now that's a very good point. And I've been noticing that too, like what you said about the trust. It's almost like there's definitely a growing voice around, this kind of anti-AI movement. I even saw that some of the graduation speeches that people were having, over the last few weeks. But that is very interesting. But one key point that you have said, I really have appreciated that triangle approach of AI, human at the lead, AI in the middle, and then back to the human. Like having that is an important piece of context. I'm curious at Intel, how are you thinking about all these programs that you're running to make this impact? I would love to hear your thought on that, from maybe even from a philosophical standpoint, the approach on trying to move AI across the world in the different programs that you're creating.
So our corporate purpose is creating world-changing technology that can improve lives of all people on the planet. Now, we are a silicon company, a US silicon company, which creates semiconductor processors, the brain of technology, in simple words, which go fuel all kinds of innovation, right? And all kinds of innovations are now sitting in an AI-fueled world, driving by AI, classical AI, Gen AI, agentic AI, and now physical AI, and all that. So from a philosophical standpoint, we are creating this world-changing technology and creating an ecosystem of open choice, trust, as we say, so that you are not logging down just on one ecosystem. You're very intentional, thinking about it, all that from a business narrative, but we have to create a shared value. Win for Intel for the business value, and our customer, our partner, our ecosystem, but also win for the world. And that's where if AI as a superpower, as a new intelligence is getting to only 2-3% people in the universe, in the world, you know, that is what a missed opportunity and what a divide. So that's why improving lives of all people on the planet.
Yeah.
Now you can say that, hey, everybody's still going to be using AI, right? My mother, when she picks up a phone and really watch a YouTube video, in some shape, she's using AI, but she doesn't know when she's watching YouTube video based on her previous watch, it's only feeding to her previous liking, right?
Yeah.
So now I need to tell her how to be a responsible AI user. That is to my 74-year-old mother. But now if I go one step ahead, a small business, right? Power user, right? Entrepreneurship with AI, right? Agentic AI can disrupt entire entrepreneurship ecosystem, right? We already have in San Francisco a business model whereby entire business is run by agents, zero humans. So think from an disruption for a small business. So how do I prepare, upskill those small businesses? Millions of them, which create more than 50% of the country wealth and the world wealth, right? That's a huge societal problem. That's a huge societal upskilling, reskilling opportunity to me, right?
Yeah.
So AI is not a problem. AI is an intelligence. We have to recognize our own structural societal fault lines and rewrite the new social contract through this trust building public-private partnership. That is how we think about it from a philosophical standpoint. This really requires shared value, shared responsibility. It has to be win-win. I can't just do this as a philanthropic one-off conversation. If this has to sustain, both from Intel as well as our customers, our ecosystem, it has to be a vested interest by everybody. Most importantly, vested interest by the society, government, academia, civil society, because that's where that virtuous cycle of growth comes in. Technology industry fuels that growth, no doubt about it, right? So that's why it's a virtuous cycle of growth for us.
No, I totally, I get it. Couple more questions and I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm thinking about, I have a 17-year-old college student, sorry, let me correct that. I'm thinking about our high school kids who are 17, 18, going to college. My kid's 19, he's a sophomore in college, going into sophomore year. What should we be telling our college students who are leaving high school, headed to college, or about to graduate? How should they be thinking about career opportunities with this influence in AI? What should they be preparing for?
So every student would have some passion, right?
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I mean, that residual heterogeneity argument which MIT gave, if AI can do everything, what is unique you? Have that conversation. What is unique you? Now, once you know, okay, I'm good in medical, I'm good in tourism, I'm good in talking and doing a podcast, I'm good in relationship, whatever is that, right? Then the real conversation should be, okay, if that is what I'm good in, how do I build my own network and my own learnability muscle? Learning to learn always, right? Learning to learn is learnability skill, and around that variability and sociability, this metacognitive abilities of learnability, variability and sociability. So that I recognize the old days are gone whereby my parents, school, college, job 1, job 2, and then retire. It's now work to learn. Every day is a new learning moment, right? So I have that lifelong learning muscle power. So that is number one point which I would tell your 19-year-old. The number two which I would tell these guys is the days of depending on, I know this, I have learned this, I've proven by my degree, my skill, my verification, all that, right? They are over. The premium, the other side is going to put is, what have you done? What can you demonstrate? So doing as a human agency, right? When agents themselves are doing a lot of things, what I am doing, right? Based on what I've known and what I've learned, right? Learn and know is a starting point. Do and show is the next point, right? So do. I mean, agents are doing it and agents will keep on doing more. So I have to figure out what is un-AIable, what agent can never do, what I can do.
Yeah.
Have that conversation, mirror conversation, what is un-AIable in my life, and then do that better, show it better, build network on that better, right? So that is the second thing which I would tell this set of students. Do and show.
Yeah, do and show. I love that. learn and know, yes, but we need to do and show. And that really is the priority of like, what artifacts are you creating in the world? That your portfolio, what are the things that you're demonstrating that you have some domain knowledge or expertise in that you've created. That's powerful. And I love how you tied it into what is uniquely you, which leads me to my next question. Your new book, Mastering the Power of You. Talk to me about that. Like, I can already tell from this conversation, like you're such a big thinker, but talk to me about that. Mastering the Power of You. What's in that?
I think that I have written a chapter in that book. It has multiple topics for this age group of youth who are just starting their career trajectory. But one of the topic which I'm very passionate about is creativity, creative thinking. Is it nurture versus nature, right? And people can get lost in that debate. But what are the practical steps I can do?
Yeah.
Right. And that's where that lifelong kindergarten argument, which I was giving earlier, right? How do I become stay foolish, stay hungry person, right? How do I really have that safe conversation of asking question? I think that creativity comes with that asking question muscle. That's the most important one. So I've written on that, but whenever again I'm talking to younger generation, I want to really demonstrate to them that's how I ask silly questions, right? So that they can really pause and then give me silly answer. And, that's how you kind of build that sense of innocence which is required in the world. So there's a lot on that topic of creative thinking, but I think the creative thinking cannot come on its own. You really need a relationship network whereby you can do this in a safe zone. And that is where, the chapter which I've written was a starting point, but now I'm kind of expanding my own thinking on this, which is, that's what I'm sharing with you, some of my own thesis on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I just some of the things you've said today on the podcast, it demonstrates that the emphasis that you put on the creative thinking, allowing the creativity to lead to creative outputs that like one of my favorite quotes with Steve Jobs, like shipping your ideas, like you have to get those ideas out into the world, getting those things out from that creative perspective. If someone is interested in learning more about Intel AI for Future Workforce, or the Intel AI for Youth, or Intel AI for Citizens, where should they go? Where would you point them so they know where they should look?
So our programs are mostly for the governments. So I would say ask that to your school leaders or the system leaders to approach us. You can always find us on website or LinkedIn, right? The way we are looking at this from a system change standpoint is it has to be at institutional system ownership level rather than asking them to come to Intel. We want to come to you so that we help you create your own capability at an individual faculty level and also capacity at a system level, right? So the best way is get the system level leadership to come and talk to us.
Okay. There it is. There it is. I appreciate that. Now, my last question that I ask all of my guests, what is your vision for the future of career in tech education?
The future has to be very outcome driven, right? The outcome which is taking the journey of education to employability, to employment, to entrepreneurship, to economic growth. That's how I articulate. And the starting point is engagement. So 6E, as I say, engage, educate, then build your employability muscle, then employment and entrepreneurship resulting into economic growth. I'm giving you 6E, but every individual or a system would have their own formula for this, right? Especially in a CTE space when everything has to be applied. What are the outcomes you are targeting? Is it outcome for the businesses? Is it outcome for a sector? And then build your formula based on what we said earlier, human AI right partnership, right? AI can be not just a reshaping opportunity, can be just a replacing opportunity, but more importantly, can be a reshaping opportunity. So that's why that automation to agency conversation. Don't think only automation. Think agency, new value creation.
New value creation. Don't think just automation, agency to new value creation. Thank you, Anshul. Man, you dropped so many gems on here today. This is one people are definitely going to have to go back and listen to 2 or 3 times. I'm grateful for you spending the time with us today. To my audience, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, don't be selfish. Share with a friend who needs to hear all of these amazing gems as we think about the connection between AI and the future in our workforce. Until the next episode, remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Global CTE podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about future episodes.